Welcome back. Tonight I'm going to build the QRP guys KD1JC code trainer. It is a device to help you learn or hone your skills in both sending and receiving Morse code. It has about 26 parts and should be a very quick build and not require a lot of technical knowledge for anyone to do. The first thing I do whenever I'm going to build a kit is separate the parts the best I can by type and value into some kind of tray, like this little craft tray from Walmart, or you can use maybe a muffin pan or something like that. Once we do that, we can take note of, or take stock of what parts we have, make sure we have them all. And with this project, we'll start with the capacitors. There's 5 of them, yeah, and they're pretty easy, and there's some of the smaller parts here. Whenever I populate the board, I'll bend the leads over a little bit on the bottom. That way they don't fall out when I turn them over. And always take, and you're probably not going to be able to see this very well, put the values in a certain direction. So if you have to come back and work on it, if it's a bigger project, you can know which way all the values are facing. You don't have to keep flipping them back and forth. So this one I'll face them to the front because that's the way they're facing, and if it was facing a different direction, I'd put the numbers facing the right. Yeah, I could be going a little bit faster, but with the camera in front of me, it makes it a little more difficult to work around it. But it'll give you guys the best view. Now once those are in, I'll flip it over and solder it. And when you solder these, you should warm up the part in the lead and let it flow from there. You don't want to melt it onto the iron so much and let it flow. Well, it's kind of like what I just did right there. Once I get these on there, I'll have to take it away and look at it a little closer that way and see if they're all done well. Even with my cheater, that's a little too far away. And we'll take and trim all these leads while we're here. They're all sufficiently soldered. Next part will be D2, the 1N4148 diode, and these are directional. So you need to face this black line in the correct direction on the board. So we have D2 here, and it'll be flat. Now when you bend, you can set it right on their side of the PCB board, and get a good bend to fit most of the openings on most of the boards you buy in production. Seat it down. It's pretty tight. Bend them over, and we'll go ahead and put in the next resistor. It's a 4.7 thousand resistor, yellow, violet, red, and gold. So you can see here. And when we do board orientations, I'll orient the values in the same way. The gold will be on the right as you would read it. That way you just have it in the same direction all the time. We have R3 right beside that diode, so I'm going to solder these and then trim them so there's not in the way, especially with trying to do it on the camera. If I didn't have it, the tripod in my direct line of sight, I would just do it without worrying about it, and I could fit in there pretty good. The QRP guys make some really good stuff, and it's really on the economical side. So if you're just starting out, or maybe a younger person with not a lot of funds, it's really a good place to start. And they've designed a lot of these for other companies who sell them in maybe a little fancier boxes and things, but we don't need that here, right? And they save money. All the instructions are online, so they don't have to worry about printing paper. Just one more easily thing to do for mailing it and putting it together. We'll put in R3, which is 100,000 ohm resistor, brown, black, yellow, gold. Bend over all the tabs. Alright, the camera auto offed on me, so we're going to put in R3 now, and remember to keep the orientation the same as everything else on the board. Slide right down in there, bend her over, and while we have that, we'll go ahead and solder this one before we put in the dip socket on U2. That's a little more difficult to do. And for this one, since we have the camera in the way, we'll actually tape that 8-pin socket down. Now, remember to orient it to the proper direction. I'm sure if you can see that, you can see a little notch here. You need to find it on the board. Here's U1. The notch is facing straight away from me, so you need to place that in the right direction. So when you go put your chip in there, it is oriented right. And I really need to get masking tape for this, be a little less risky on grabbing something, but it's not going to be on very long. We'll flip it over, and we can hit one of the feet, make sure it's lined up, then continue to do the rest, which actually they're all sticking up just right, even, so we'll just solder them all. Nope. Nope. I actually skipped a piece on the instructions here. I should have installed the D1 green LED first, and these are polarity sensitive, so you need to make sure they're facing the right one. And fortunately enough, here they tell you which one's what. Barely see that one leg is longer, and the long leg is positive. And on the board, it is marked as well. Also, some of them, like this one does, has a flat side on the LED, so if you had already trimmed the legs, some of those have them, some of them are less pronounced. And looks like those have some kind of stop on it, so that's as far as it's going to go in. We'll bend those leads out. Solder that in real quick. Alright, we had to take a pause there, reading the directions, and it's talking about U2, and it's actually marked U1 on the board. So I was confused because I didn't see a second one. So I guess that's either a problem with the manual or the board, depending on how you look at it. So probably the manual, since there's only one on there. Next we'll do J3 2x3 pen headers. This little guy probably get taped down too to make life easier. Those little pens get hot when you go to solder them if you're trying to hold them with your fingers. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera. It's right there where I need to be. I'm by far no expert soldering person. I know a couple guys that are. I can get the job done pretty well. I haven't had any issues just yet. So S1, which is the slide switch for the power. Doesn't matter which way it goes. Yeah, hopefully it locks right down in there. It's got the little clips to hold it in, which you can solder those in, and the switches. R2, the trim pot, which is the volume. It's also with a flat spot telling you which side to go. And, well, it's only got 3 legs, so it's pretty self-explanatory. It can only go one direction. Here we have J1, 2, which are the 3.5mm audio jacks, which these may or may not hold themselves in either. Some do, some don't. Now those are going to be pretty loose, so we use our handy friend duct tape and hold them down. It's actually quite important you keep the tip as clean as you can too. It'll help you transfer the heat. I have a bunch of gunk on it. Keep the solder joint clean. Yeah. We'll put some solder on that guy and put them up, freeze them in place. We'll adjust the back too. Oh, there we go. It all shifted on me. It's not going anywhere now. Try to keep taking out of frame, but I just need to get it closer so I can actually see it, make sure everything's good. Need to put it all together, and the project that doesn't work because I soldered it wrong, or soldered it bad because I couldn't see. And we have the 2 push button switches. Actually, it should be 3, and so F2, yeah, F2, 3, and 4, which these are speed controls. And the function switches. That shouldn't be any real directionality on these that I'm aware of. Might actually, yeah, the directionality's done because they're more rectangularly set up, then they're not squares, they're rectangles, so you can only put them in one way. Hopefully these will hold, yep, hold themselves in. We'll have to tape them, make life that much easier. Now the coin battery holder. You can see they do a great job of the self-screening with the orientation of the parts. Hard to mess that stuff up. Ooh, and it fits nice and tight too. Makes soldering real easy. These guys make really quality stuff. For this kit costs $15 and a couple dollars shipping. You just can't beat it. And we won't worry about the rubber feet right now. We'll install the chip. Now, you can see on the screen, you have to flatten these things out because the legs are always spread apart, causing it so you just can't push it straight down in. So you do that simply just by sitting on the table, flexing it a little bit, down the other side. I probably have to get a little bit more. It's so much better to take your time with that. Not that you can't replace this, but you just don't want to wait for one. And here in the corner, you can see that's pin 1, and that's going to go oriented towards the notch in the little holder here. So we want to line up the legs, make sure they go in, which see they're hanging over, so they're not quite in far enough yet. And whenever you have a chance, use these little sockets. If you burn this chip up, it is an easy pull it out and swap it versus trying to unsolder all of them. And there it is. I just need to put the coin battery in, and I'll get a speaker and a key, and we'll show you how it works. Alright, so we've got everything hooked up, we've got a battery in it, and right now we're in the practice sending mode. Sorry the side tones to be super loud, all I have is an amplified speaker, but it works just fine. So it works pretty good, just using my itty bitty tiny key. Sweet little thing for taking on the trail. And we'll see if we can't put this in the receiving mode for practice and copying. And there it is. Run through groups with it'll run through groups and pause in between so you can write it down. It's completely random, and you can change the speeds and such a little bit. So if you're interested, go take it out, check it out, and see what the details are for yourself. See if it's something you would like. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Maybe makes you interested in learning something about soldering or building kits, amateur radio. So I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Till the next video, take care.